I don't know if you remember, but the year that we traded Tyreek Hill, going into that season, we had zero expectations for our offense. It was completely new and we didn't know what we were getting. Mahomes would go on to win an MVP because guys overperformed. Going into the next season, the ship kind of sank a little bit. Those same guys, they didn't live up to the expectations that they created the season prior, and our offense struggled. I think that Josh Allen is going through a similar situation. Last year, he lost Stephon Diggs, and going into the season, no one expected him to win MVP. Now, going into this season, because of what they was able to accomplish, people were expecting guys like Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman to take the next step, and in my opinion, they just haven't. But they do have a wild card, and that's James Cook. Now, we all know that Josh Allen is great. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, and we know what he can do with his legs. We know what he can do with his arm, but that offense looked better when they're feeding James Cook. I watched the game last week, and he had over 200 yards on 19 carries. That's how explosive he can be. And if the Chiefs are going to go into Buffalo and win this game today, they're going to have to deal with James Cook. We did get hit with an injury in our 28-7 win over the Commanders last week. And I believe it's a huge blow because Isaiah Pacheco has been coming along as of late. Luckily, his injury is not severe. They're saying it's a sprained MCL and he'll be week to week, but he won't play in this game, which means Kareem Hunt will be our running back one, followed by Rashard Smith, who will get his opportunity to play a lot. I'm happy for him. You know, I've been raving about this kid all season long, and now we're going to get a chance to see what he can do on a big stage. I do expect Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice to get involved in the running game as well, as we hope to stay balanced on offense. Trey Smith's value was shown in his absence last week because Washington was getting at us in that game. Some of our early struggles were due to our offensive line just not playing well last week. Mike Kalindo and Jalen Moore just didn't play well. Josh Simmons will not play in this game, so we're going to need Jalen Moore to play better. And it's looking like Trey Smith will be back in the lineup because he is practicing this week. That's going to be a huge factor, along with Buffalo's star defensive lineman Ed Oliver getting hurt in last week's game. I'm hoping our offensive line could step it up and play a cleaner game because we're going to need it. Adrenaline's going to be rushing. It's Buffalo Chiefs. You know that everyone's playing their A game. For our defense, I do love the re-signing of defensive tackle Mike Pennell. It seems like every time we get this guy in the middle of the season, we go on to win the Super Bowl. Now, he's not a household name throughout the league, but for us, he's a huge factor in the locker room. He knows our guys. He's great friends with Chris Jones, so you know them two have a great chemistry on the defensive line. So I'm hoping that he's the spark that we need, especially when our front four, because we all know they just have not been playing well this season. All right, money time, y'all. Let's do a little gambling. Here's my 3 picks for this game. I love Patrick Mahomes for 20 yards rushing. With the absence of Isaiah Pacheco, I'm expecting Mahomes to continue to keep using his legs to make plays. Then I love Hollywood Brown for 20 yards receiving. He had a bad game last week. You know, he ran a bad route, which led to an interception. So I'm expecting him to bounce back. And then I like Xavier Worthy to get in the end zone. So those are my 3 picks for this game. I like Xavier Worthy for a touchdown, Hollywood Brown for 20 plus receiving yards, and Patrick Mahomes for 20 plus rushing yards.